Today's lecture is on Patichcha Samuppada. Patichcha Samuppada is one of the hardest topics in Buddha Dhamma. So much so, Buddha has said, he has mentioned, Yo Patichcha Samuppada Passati, so Dhamma Passati. One who sees Patichcha Samuppada would see Dhamma. In other words, one who understands Patichcha Samuppada would understand Dhamma. So this is a tougher topic we are trying to handle, but what we are trying to do is what the Buddha revealed 2,600 years ago. We are trying hard to understand and digest what he meant. So what happens is Buddha has revealed this in Pali language. So it's inevitable that we have to use Pali words, and we have to go for translations of interpretations of those words. Those are difficult things because in interpreting the meaning of the word. But anyway, nevertheless, let's try. So before going into the topic of Patichcha Samuppada, I'd like to give an introduction. The introduction is Buddha was a human being, like you, me, or anybody else. But his difference is he looked at the world with a lokottara chitta or supermundane chitta. And we, the ordinary people, we are looking at the world with a mundane chitta or the pruthaggjana chitta. That's the difference. So with the lokottara chitta is, or the supermundane chitta is accompanied with panya. So now I'll have to explain you what panya is. Panya could be given the meaning as wisdom or insight or insightful knowledge. And so much so, in the Milinda Nagasena discussion, that is in the past, there have been a king, Milinda, who had known Dhamma fairly well. He has studied it, and he has met Arahat Nagasena, and their King Milinda has been asking a series of questions on Dhamma. So one of those questions was, what is Panya? Panya, he has said, it's illumination without defilements. In other words, in Sinhalese, it's Kelesin walin thora prabhaswara bhava. So it's illumination without defilements. What are defilements? Defilements are lobha, dvesha, and moha. Lobha is greed, dvesha is hatred, moha is the feeling of I and mine. So in other words, panya is illumination. There's illumination existing in that person without lobha, dvesha, and moha. What is important is, while in panya, we are living, that person has to live at the present time. He is living at present. Living at present is a tough ask, because if I explain, there's just a moment ago it was future, now it's present, and it's a past now. It goes, it keeps on going. It's a mobile thing. So that is what they say, atita pachuppanna anagata. So things, pachuppanna is that moment of concentration, moment of consciousness. So to be in the present moment is a tough ask. It's definitely a tough ask. So what we need to be in the present moment is what they say is appamado. Appamado, it's a quality. Appamado. Now, appamado is a Pali word, and the single equivalent of it is apramada. Apramada, the opposite of apramada is pramada. Pramada, what does pramada mean? Pramada is delay or lapse or absence. So apramada means non-absence. Non-absence, or in other words, full presence of it. Non-absence. Non-absence of what? Non-absence of sati sampajana. Sati is mindfulness. Sati is mindfulness. Mindfulness, what is mindfulness? You might ask me, what mindfulness? Mindfulness is being given the meanings as something like perfect definition would have been non-judgmental observation. You're observing, but not going to judgments, non-judgmental observation. Or it could be said as bare attention. You're attentive, but bare attention. Or in other words, superficial awareness. You are aware of it, but very superficial. Because it's superficial or bare, all that, because you want to be in the present time. So, say as a Patichcha, your things are, your eyes, ears, all open. So you tend to see things. And if you see something and if you think over it at a deeper, that means you are not living in the present. You are joining the past. So to be in the present moment is a tough ask. For that only, Buddha has stated something like appamado amata padam. That's appramada, the appramado quality, that is the being in non-absence of sati sampajanna is considered nirvana. Appamado amata padam. That's appramada is amata padaya, like that. Or even the very last advice of Buddha to the public was, what was it? Vayadhamma sankara appamadena sampadeti. Vayadhamma sankara, that's all transient, all the conditioned things are transient or of cease in nature. Vayadhamma is of cease in nature. Vayadhamma sankara appamadena sampadeti. Work hard, thrive hard to be in appamado. So that's appamada quality is the one we all should possess. So in other words, it's to be in non-absence of sati sampajanna. So the non-absence of sati sampajanna, that is, you have to be always in full presence of sati sampajanna. With clear, and sati is mindfulness. I didn't explain sampajanna. Sampajanna is a subject by itself. It's clear comprehension. So I'll stop by that. The sampajanna means clear comprehension. So appamado means non-absence of sati sampajanna. Sati is mindfulness, but sampajanna is with clear comprehension. Okay. So to be in that with conscious awareness, to live with the present, it's a tough ask. You have to be very smart on it. If we are not smart, if we are slack in it, being not in appamado, that's what all the Patichchanas do. The normal thing, they slack. There's a slackness in it. That slackness is referred to as ignorance or avidya. That's basically what I am coming to. That's how what the ordinary people see. They have their momentary experiences. That is, every moment we see things, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and the mind. So we get you recollect various things. Say Ruanwadi Sahib, straight away comes to your mind, or whatever, you see things, hear sounds, all that. With all those momentary experiences, to live with the present moment, to live with appamado, it's very tough. So in other words, now I should say the human body, or normal person's human body, could be referred to as a composite instrument. Eye as a camera lens, ear as a sound testing instrument, nose as a instrument testing the smells, tongue as an instrument testing the taste, like that. So with these, as we see things or hear sounds or smell or taste, etc., we tend to develop thoughts, and we generate with thoughts, we generate karma. We generate karma. And with karma, we have the karma vipaka, the results of the karma. And the results of the karma. And then thereby we tend to extend the samsara. So the method of how we develop karma, it could be has been explained in Patichcha Samuppada. That's how how Patichcha Samuppada is relevant to us, is because as ordinary human beings, we tend to see things, hear noises, taste the taste, smell, taste, all this body, what the body feels. With those with those experiences, we tend to develop Pancha Upadanaskandha, and then these Pancha Upadanaskandha will form Chetana, and with this formation of Chetana, and Buddha said, Chetanam Bhikkhave Kammam Vadami, dear bhikkhus, Chetana, dear bhikkhus, I declare Chetana, or Chetana is volitions or intentions. So I declare intentions as karma. So if you have karma, there will be karma phala, the vipaka. So with every momentary experience, we generate karma, and through the Pancha Upadanaskandha, we develop Chetana, and Chetana is karma, and eventually end up with karma phala, the karma vipaka. So the relevance is Patichcha Samuppada. Patichcha Samuppada is, Buddha described it in 12 stages. So I'll come to it. Now, to start with what Patichcha Samuppada means. Patichcha is, meaning of the Pali word Patichcha is because of, or dependent upon, right? Patichcha. Samuppada is Samaupada, is co-origination. So the meaning of the word Patichcha Samuppada is dependent co-origination. That's what it is. And I'd like to come out with another one where we must understand the difference between a reason for something to happen and the conditions that need to be fulfilled for something to happen. That's what I'm trying to say is reasons or conditions that need to be fulfilled. We must try and understand the difference of these two. I'll give you an example. Say something happened at your home, and somebody would ask, what are the cause for it? How did it happen? Then you would say, because it happened because I was out of house, out of home. I was in office. That's why it happened. Had I been in my place, this wouldn't have happened. That's one reason. Or another reason, while I was away, probably my wife had to go shopping, so leaving the kids. That's how the kids were all by themselves. That's why this happened. Like that, one or two reasons it boils down to. That's the reason. But for condition, something to happen, it's not one or two reasons. It's a whole heap of conditions that needs to be fulfilled for that to happen. I'll give you an example where when you are walking out of the house in your front yard, you tend to see a flower, and you've seen the flower. Somebody might ask, why did you see the flower? Because the flower was there. Yes, simple answer. That's the reason. But for you to see the flower, there are so many conditions. I'll explain what that is. That is, you should have for you to see the flower, there should first and foremost, there should be a flower. If the flower was not there, you wouldn't see a flower, right? That's first condition to be fulfilled. There's another condition is you should have a good eyesight. What I try to mean is, if you are blind, you wouldn't have been able to see a flower. So another condition 2 is you shouldn't be blind, or you should have a good eyesight, number 2. Then the other one is, even if if the flower was there and you not being blind, having a good eyesight won't do unless there should be enough light for you to see. That is, either you should have sunlight, moonlight, street light, torch light, or some light to there. So that's the third condition. And then with all these conditions in, if you are walking out and if you are looking somewhere elsewhere, then you won't see the flower. That's another condition. You must head in the direction of the flower for you to see the flower. That's the fourth condition. Another condition, even if you do all that, and if you are thinking of a problem at office, then this flower wouldn't have come to your mind. That's another condition. So like that, there are so many conditions that needs to be fulfilled for something to happen. So likewise, this Patichcha Samuppada, there are 12 items which Buddha described, and starting with avidya. How it starts is, how this all started, I would like to quote something like Nigantanatha Putta's, one of the understudy of Nigantanatha Putta, Udai. This is what the Buddha explained to Udai. This comes in Majjhima Nikaya Chula Sakulludai Sutta, where it says, Apicha Udai Tittatu Pubbante Tittatu Aparante Dhammante Desessami. Imasmin Sati Idang Hoti, Imasa Uppada Idang Uppajjati, Imasmin Asati Idang Nahoti, Imasa Nirodo Idang Nirujjati. So this is, I'll explain. Apicha Upai, then Udai, Tittatu Pubbante, leave the past as it is. Tittati Pubbante, Tittati Aparante, leave the future as it would be. I'll explain you Dhamma. So it must mean sati idang hoti. If this is there, it must mean sati means if this is there, the idang hoti, this also will be there. It must mean sati idang hoti. It must be uppada idang uppajjati. If this arises, this also arises. It must mean asati idang nahoti. If this ceases, this also ceases. And it must be nirodho idang nirujjati. If this ceases, this also ceases. Did I explain it? It must be sati idang hoti. If this being there, this also is there. It must be uppado idang uppajjati. If this arises, this also arises. It must be asati idang nahoti. If this is not there, this won't be there. And it must be nirodho idang nirujjati. If this ceases, this also ceases. So it's like, I'll give you an example. It's like, how I understood it was something like, if it is a party, if it is in a family party, a latecomer is coming, and he would notice that Mr. X's children are playing outside the house. So if we, from distance, if we see Mr. X's children, that means the X's family has come already for the party. If this is there, it must mean sati idang hoti. If the children of X's children are there, that means X family has already come. That's that. And later on, if the children are not to be seen, that means they would have, the X's family would have left the party. That's that. It must mean asati idang nahoti. Then imasa uppado idang uppajjati. If this arises, this also arises. That means, example would be something like, if music starts, dancing would start. And if music starts, people would start dancing. Imasa uppado idang uppajjati. If this arises, this also arises. It must be nirodha idang nirujjati. If music stops, dancing will stop. You know, that type of thing. And yadidan avidya paccaya sankara. Now this is how the crux of it is, avidya paccaya sankara. So now for avidya is actually ignorance. It's given the meaning ignorance, but actual meaning is you're not ignorant, but at that moment of the observation, you are slack in not being in appamado. That slackness is called ignorance. At that moment, you were ignorant. You behaved like with an ordinary chitta or mundane chitta. That's what it is. But if you are with full conscious awareness, with the non-absence of sati sampadana, that's if you are with non-absence, or at that moment, non-absence of sati, mindfulness, and sampadana with clear comprehension, then you are very smart and you are in the living at the present moment. So with this slackness of at that moment is called ignorance. So because of ignorance, avidya paccaya sankhara. Sankhara is a mental formation. Sankhara could be given the meaning mental formation. So that means in this example of the flower, you see the flower. If the flower was not there, nothing would have come into your mind. Because the flower, as you see the flower, there's a mental formation being formed in your mind. That's sankhara. So avidya paccaya sankhara. Now, paccaya means because of, but it's the correct meaning is giving the difference between the reason for something to happen and the conditions that need to be fulfilled for something to happen. The correct way of putting it is something like this: through the slackness, through avidya paccaya sankhara, through avidya is conditioned mental formation, sankhara. Through your slackness, not being smart, not being in the present moment. So through your slackness is conditioned mental formation. And avidya paccaya sankhara. Sankhara paccaya vijnana. That means through mental formation is conditioned consciousness. Vijnana is consciousness. Now, consciousness could be of one of 6 things, like chakku. It could be chakku vijnana, sota vijnana, gana vijnana, divya vijnana, kaya vijnana, like that it goes, the 6. So in this particular case, you see the flower means it's chakku vijnana. So through what I have explained so far, avidya paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya vijnana. Through mental sankhara is mental formation. Through mental formation is conditioned consciousness. It is I consciousness. So in this, what happens? I said I is considered a camera lens. So you get the camera lens being there, then the focusing object, something that's a flower. This is camera lens is called, if we call it chakku arammana, or is the flower, and chakku getting in touch with chakku arammana will have chakku vijnana. So the I consciousness. So I and the viewing object and the I consciousness, all 3 get it together, will send in some mental formation, will send in a sense impression, will form a sense impression in someone's mind. That's the sampassa. So that's passa. So that process, Buddha describes it in a few stages. So that's why in the 12 steps. So avidya paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya vijnana, vijnana paccaya nama rupa. That is through I consciousness is conditioned through I consciousness is conditioned nama rupa. Nama rupa is could be explained as nama, the mental and physical phenomena. I'll call it nama rupa is mental and physical phenomena. So if I give you the example or explain it this way, like rupa is nama rupa is always happening together, but in combination. Where rupa, if you call it, when you happen to see something through the eyes, or hear a sound through the ears, or smell something that's coming through the nose or whatever it is. If the receiving of information, when you see a flower, you are receiving some information in your eye. So receiving of information, if you call it rupa, and noting it in the mind about it is called nama. So the nama rupa in combination would make that person to see that. That's where I don't want to go into that topic. That's where I is being formed, and in combination it's called I see the flower or I hear a noise. There's a hypothetical I being formed. So that's another topic that has to be explained at length. So we'll leave it as that, as nama rupa, as the mental and physical phenomena. Okay. But then, where did I stop? Avidya paccaya sankara, sankara paccaya vijnana, vijnana paccaya nama rupa paccaya salayatana. Through mental and physical phenomena is conditions salayatana. Salayatana is the six ayatanas. Ayatana hayak තියෙනවා. Salayatana. So in this case, it is a chakku ayatana. Chakku ayatana. Now, there's some chakku ayatana. Ayatana means ayatana is an establishment. So chakku, there's a eye establishment being formed, or something is being instituted. There's an institution. This experience of you seeing the flower, it has instituted something in it's called chakku ayatana. And that chakku ayatana, salayatana paccaya passa, that chakku institution will form a mental impression in the mind. That's where the passa is. Salayatana paccaya passu. Passa paccaya vedana. Sampassa or passa is the mental impression that is created in one's mind. And from there onwards, everything is going to be mental. Everything is inside the mental system. So, passa paccaya vedana, that means through mental impression is conditioned vedana. Vedana is feeling. Through mental impression is conditioned feeling. Feeling is of three types. Like vedana should be vedana could be of three types, like sukha vedana, dukkha vedana, adukkama sukha vedana. That is where the feeling could be happy feeling or unhappy feeling or a neutral feeling. Adukkama sukha, this neither sukha nor dukkha. So adukkama. So, but the important thing is this dukkha feeling or the happy feeling or unhappy feeling. It's only about, they say, it's only about 10% of our life is of either dukkha or unhappy feeling, dukkha or sukha or dukkha. 90% of it is in adukkama asukha. So that is the neutral, but it goes unnoticed. Ordinary people don't recognize it. So that's the problem. So right. So anyway, coming back to this Patichcha passa paccaya vedana, that is through mental impression, sensual impression through mental impression is conditioned feeling. Feeling is of three types: the sukha vedana, dukkha vedana, adukkama sukha vedana. Through feeling, vedana paccaya tanna. What happens is, through feeling is conditioned craving. Tanna is craving. Once you see something and your sukha vedana, so you are so happy with it, and with that you try to create there will be a craving being generated. Tanna is the three types, that is kama tanna, bhava tanna, vibhava tanna. Kama tanna is the desire, the tanna is desires. So kama tanna is desires for sensual pleasures, is kama tanna. Bhava tanna is the desire to have or be, like desire to have or be. Have is you want to have a palatial house. That's a that's a bhavatanna. Or you want to have a car, Cadillac car or something. That's a bhavatanna. To have. To be is you want to be the president of a society. That's bhavatanna. You want to be, or you want to be the president of the country or whatever. So that means bhavatanna. Kamatanna is the desire to have sensual pleasures. Bhavatanna is the desire to have or be. And vibhavatanna is you are unhappy with the present setup and you want to destroy the present setup. And it's with hatred, vibhavatanna. Bhavatanna, Kamatanna and Bhavatanna, you are trying to attract, you want to grab, because Kamatanna, you want to have sensual pleasures. Bhavatanna, you desire to have or be, you want to possess it. Vibhavatanna is hatred, you don't like it, the system, so you want to destroy. That's out of hatred. So, where did we stop? Vedana Paccaya Tanna, through feelings is conditioned craving. Tanna Paccaya Upadana, that through craving is conditioned upadana. Upadana is clinging or grasping or that type of thing. Upadana, when you see a nice thing, you tend to develop craving, and with that craving, you try to cling on to it. Upadana. Upadana is also of 4 types, like Kama Upadana, Ditti Upadana, Silabbata Upadana, Attavadi Upadana. So Kama Upadana is that clinging on to the sensual pleasures. Ditti Upadana is the clinging on to Ditti, keep clinging on to opinions, views, or ideas. You say my idea, that type of thing. You're clinging on to a certain thinking. So that is Ditti Upadana. Or Silabbata Upadana, clinging on to the rituals. Attavadi Upadana is the clinging on to the personality belief. Right. So now coming back to the parent Patichcha, Paccaya Vedana, Vedana Paccaya Tanna, Tanna Paccaya Upadana, that is through craving is conditioned clinging. Through Upadana Paccaya Bhava, through clinging is conditioned the karma process of bhava, karma process of being, right? That Upadana Paccaya Bhava. Bhava Paccaya Jati, through karma process of bhava is conditioned jati, is the birth. And Jati Paccaya Jara, Jara Marana Soka Parideva, that is through birth is conditioned Jara. Jara is decay. Jara Marana, Marana is death. Jara Marana Soka Parideva, Soka is sorrow, Parideva is lamentation, Parideva grief, despair, all that, So, you seeing a flower and that momentary object, it will result in Jati, Jara, Marana, Soka, Parideva, Dukkha, Doha, Sampada. So, in these 12 steps, what we do is we tend to develop Pancha Upadanaskandha. Pancha Upadanaskandha is, Pancha is 5, Upadana is clinging, Skandha is heaps or collections. So we tend to, in this Patichcha Samuppada, we tend to develop Pancha Upadanaskandha. So the Pancha Upadanaskandha are Panchaskandha, they refer to as Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana. So Upadana is the clinging. Because of the clinging, we name to Rupa Upadanaskandha, Vedana Upadanaskandha, Sanya Upadanaskandha, Sankara Upadanaskandha, and Vijnana Upadanaskandha. So that's those 5 is the Pancha Upadanaskandha. So of which Sankara and Vijnana could be embodied as Chetana. So it will be Chetana. Chetana means volitions or intentions. So in this experience, we tend to, with the Pancha Upadanaskandha, we go for Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Chetana. Chetana, Buddha mentioned, Chetana Bhikkhave Kammam Vadami, dear bhikkhus, I declare Chetana as I declare intentions as karma. So if you have intentions, that will be karma. And if you develop karma, there will be karma vipaka, the results of the karma, and thereby we extend the samsara. That's what is happening. But of this Rupa Vedana Sanya Sankara Vijnana, the important thing is sanya. Sanya is the one which causes the I could call it is the one which causes the damage. That is, sanya means what does sanya mean? Sanya means identifying or recognizing or perceiving. Recognizing, say what is recognizing? Recognizing is recognizing. Recognizing. You can't, that is identifying. You can't identify something at your first sight. You can't identify. It has to be with the, once you have been taught something and then seen it first time, the second time or times later only you will recognize, oh, this is that. So that's the thing. Say, if I explain you for a little child, if someone says, what is a table? Table is something with 4 legs and a horizontal plank. It's called a table. Yes, that's the definition given. And you could call it something with 4 legs and a horizontal plank, fitted with a vertical plank to lean against. It's you could call it a crude form of chair, say. So if someone wants to identify a table or identify a chair, he'll have to look into these features or the characteristics or the benchmarks. And if those given benchmarks are there, then he would recognize it. He would recognize it. It's a horizontal plank with 4 legs, so it's a table. It's a table, or it's a chair, or it's a hospital, or it's a bus, or it's a train, or plane, or whatever the definition given. So you can recognize it, recognize it. So Buddha said sanya is the Pali word for recognizing, and the Buddha equated it to a mirage. Mirage is what is a mirage? Mirage is a false water glittering at distance. That is, when you are in a desert or something, you see the mirage as you see water as at distance, false water. It's not real water, and it's glittering. So likewise, sanya is he equated sanya to a mirage, and say I'll give you an example. If you are entering a buffet table, what happens is, if you are entering a buffet table, as you enter, you are given a plate, and on the table there are dishes made out of, say, chicken, beef, lamb, pork, fish, vegetarian. So if a vegetarian walks into the table, he would see these beef, lamb, everything, and he would look for, though he sees those, he will only serve the vegetarian dish onto his plate. And he would know only the taste of the vegetarian dish because he hasn't served the beef or lamb or any of these meat into his table. He haven't served it, so he wouldn't know the taste. He knows only the taste of the vegetarian dish. So vegetarian dish. So if I put it this way, if a noble person walks into the table and he sees the lamb, beef, pork, fish, vegetarian, and if he doesn't serve anything to his plate, he would know the taste of any. Likewise, if there are every moment we see certain inputs coming through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and the mind. And if we don't recognize them, That is what it should be. Unrecognizing. Unrecognizing is a word, made up word. Recognizing, if you can stay without recognizing it. Like you seen the beef and all that, you don't serve it. So likewise, every moment you see things, but you don't recognize it. So thereby only you could be able to be in the present moment. If you try to recognize it, you are joining the past and you are into a thought and you have missed the presence. So arahats actually, arahats or Buddha or arahats would have only the rupa and vedana in their thing. They experience, even the arahats would experience rupa and vedana, but they wouldn't have sanya and chetana. They wouldn't have sanya and chetana. That's where they come to that's where they come to what they call ditte dittamatta. If you happen to see something, that's seeing only and nothing more. That's what ditte dittamatta, mute mutamatta, sute sutamatta. If you hear anything, you hear it, that's it. Mute mutamatta. If you sense, if you feel anything through the nose, tongue, or the body, it's a feeling, that's it, no more. So if you vinyate vinyatamatta, if you happen to recollect something and it's a recollection and that is it. So that is where the arahats, that's how they live in the present moment. That is, they live with non-absence of sati sampadana. Sati sampadana, I repeat, it's a mindfulness with clear comprehension. So with clear comprehension. So, and they live with the present, they live with panya, that is, they live with the illumination without lobha, dvesha and moha. So in that lobha, dvesha and moha, if you are living with panya, at that moment, you will not, while living at the present moment, one would be free from any feeling from time and space. That he will not feel, he will be free from any feeling of time and space. Time is atita, pachupanna, anagata. That's the atita is the past, pachupanna is the present, anagata is the future. So that person will not have the feel of atita, pachupanna, anagata, and that's a time. He wouldn't have a feel of the space either. Space, when you say space is into 8, space could be divided into 8 categories. That is ajatta bahita. He would not have a feeling of internal, external type of feeling. He wouldn't have ajatta bahita. Olarika sukuma. Olarika is rough. Sukuma is smooth. He wouldn't have a feel of with this something rough and smooth. Hina pranita. He wouldn't have a good or bad. The pranita is good. Hina is bad. Or dura santaka, that is, dura is far, santaka is close, near. So all those 11 items he wouldn't feel. That is, that person will not have a feel, will be free from the feeling of time and space. So I'll stop by this, and that's what Patichcha Samuppada, if one can be in the present moment, that is what it should be. And the Buddhas or the Arahats are looking at the world with a mundane chitta, and we ordinary people, we are looking at and no, they are looking at a super mundane chitta. We are looking at the world with a mundane chitta, and with this mundane chitta, we tend to develop pancha upadana skandha, and eventually we develop karma and face the karma vipaka, and thereby we tend to extend the samsara. Thank you for listening.
Vishvavahini.